package here. Still waiting for the tablet to boot up. I'm going to have to start this thing like an hour before the show. Frickin' cold here. Jeez. Weather should be in the 70s, not goddamn frickin' low 60s. Although it's Labor Day and it will probably rain this weekend because it always rains for the air show. Well, about time. Jesus. Well, now I lost the stylus. How do you like the hat my buddy bought me? Coordinator of the entire shit show. Oh, 88. Like I say, it should be in the mid to high 70s at least. But no. The hat's driving me crazy. Not that I don't wear hats all the time, it's just too much of a visor in the studio here. Oh, I would have loved it if it was 88 today. You know, my master cylinder is supposed to be here tomorrow. Watch it be fucking rainy and cold when I, want to work on the truck. I don't know why I keep looking at the chat over there. I've got it right in front of me. Bad habit. I was complaining because the font was so tiny. Now I have nice big font over here and I keep looking over there. Boy, I saw a news clip today. Actually, it was from yesterday. That infuriated me. And lately, it don't take much to infuriate me. Oh, jeez, I'm in a rut again. There we go. Come on, get with it. If you're going to stand here, make sure the banner's correct. Oh, jeez. There. Not my choice. CEO's choice. Well, I want to get started, but I was kind of hoping. There he is, Ron Bo's here. Okay, let's get started. Broadcasting live from station WDWL TV. Corporate offices located on Grumpy Vulture Boulevard. And my personal studio is located on Grumpy Old Man Road. And for those of you just tuning in, I am the Grumpy Old Man. All right, take your bow. There. That's it. That's all you get. I don't want to hear it. Damn bird. So it was 88 by Kathy today. What was it in your part of town, Ron? Triple digits again, I suppose. Where's Linda? Feeding? Taking care of the babies? How's your daughter doing, Kathy? Any better? Mom take care of her with the chicken soup? The miracle cure. Every time I got sick, my mother put a bowl of chicken soup in front of me. Here, this'll cure you. 100 degrees. It was in the low 60s here. This year's air show, we had the Thunderbirds. They've been practicing for the last couple of days, buzzing the house. She's a little better? Okay. Glad to hear it. Yeah, they take off from Hopkins and they fly over in formation, then they go out to Burke Lakefront, and then they do their practice, and they basically make their turns over the neighborhood here. But it was a low cloud ceiling today, so we got a good look when they buzzed the house. It was neat for the couple of years that I lived in the compartment in Lakewood. I used to take a lawn chair up on the roof. I could see the air show. All I had to do was face the direction of the airport. When my buddy was alive and he had his airplane, we used to go to the air show. He used to get tickets for free. So we would go down and plus he had VIP passes, and there were a couple of old World War II bombers that they bought in one year that we got to walk through, and it was kind of neat. But I was never big on the air show. I don't want to hear it. just sit there. You were the one that went on strike. No, I'm not going to introduce you. No, I don't want to hear it. Damn, Bert, I'll turn you around. You won't be able to look at the camera. Damn bird. I had to run up to my Indian store today, and the Lay's potato chip guy was there. And as he was putting up stock, I said, "Oh, finally, fresh potato chips." He looked at me and said, "I'm here every week." I said, "Well, you might be here every week, but you ain't putting up fresh potato chips every week." He says, "Well, what's the problem?" I says, "Well, I got a couple of packs of them dill potato chips the other day, and they were stale as hell." He pulls one up and he goes, "Well, it says October 28th. I said, "I don't care what it says. The goddamn chips were stale." He just turned around, ignored me. Although I should have paid attention. If you don't have a pack of chips that's like a puff ball, don't buy them. That's where I made the mistake. Because that means there's an air leak in the packaging somewhere. You get a bag of potato chips, you should be able to squeeze it and it stay, not collapse. And then I like, when they put the chips up, they put them up and they smash them back, and put a couple more in and smash them back. I said, by the time you get a pack of potato chips, it's goddamn crumbs. Well, yeah, I don't buy them that often. And what I should have done was taken them right back. Every now and then, I like the dill pickle. Everybody's like, blah. I like the dill pickle potato chips. And every now and then, I'll buy a couple of bags. And the ones I got the other day, oh, were they stale. Nothing like biting into a potato chip and it bends. I guess I'll have to buy my potato chips at Mark's. Because the Lay's guy that delivers there, he's really good about checking stock. Because I've seen him already pick up bags and go, that bad one. Oh, you too? Oh, I've tried almost every flavor. And I really enjoy, first of all, I like dill pickles. And I like the dill pickle chips. I really do. And it was sad because, stale chips, what a turn off. But like I say, at Mark's, the guy checks because I've already seen him go, bad one, and throw it in the box. But, part of the problem is the goddamn kids go in that store and, I've already seen them pick up a penny, squeeze them, put them back. They think they're funny. Squeeze their goddamn heads. One more comment of you, I'm going to squeeze your head. I don't know if you heard the news story yesterday about the 1-year-old that literally got roasted to death in a hot car in Texas. Well, the sheriff came on and updated the story from yesterday. Get this. They have 3 kids. 2 are in elementary school, and this 1-year-old. They come back from somewhere. They all get out of the car. Mom, Dad, 2 elementary school age kids. They go in the house. Mom makes dinner. They sit down and eat dinner. Dad goes to play video games. Mom goes to take a nap because she had a couple of rough previous days. She'd also been imbibing. Not yesterday, but the day before. 2 hours goes by, and one of the children goes, where's, I can't, they didn't give the baby's name. Where's Susie? So Mom says to Dad, didn't you bring Susie in? Dad's like, no, I thought you brought her in. By the time they realized Susie had been in the car for 2 hours, the temperature inside the car was over 150 degrees because the car was sitting in the sun and it was 100 degrees outside. Needless to say, when they brought Susie into the house, Susie wasn't responding. Mainly because she got baked. So both Mom and Dad have been charged with, I think, reckless homicide. How can you come in the house? First of all, why didn't one of the kids say something? Like, Mom, Dad, Susie's out in the car. Nope. Neither kid says anything during dinner or after dinner while Mom goes in to take a nap and Dad goes to play Xbox. 2 hours go by and one of the kids goes, where's Susie? Wouldn't you think about child number 3 when you're sitting down to dinner going, somebody's missing here? Nope. Linda's here. All right, you can bow for Linda. There. Don't bother me no more. Are you done feeding? The little ones are all okay. Yeah, now, in a normal, now evidently it's obvious this isn't a normal family, but in a normal family, if you sit down to dinner and you know you have 3 kids, wouldn't somebody go, somebody's missing? There's an empty chair here. No. They eat dinner. I don't know where the kids went. Mom goes to take a nap because she's tired. And Dad goes to play Xbox. And while Mom's taking a nap and while Dad's playing Xbox for 2 hours, one of the kids goes, we're missing somebody. And the kid ended up roasting to death, closed up inside of a hot oven car. And the sheriff said when they interviewed the parents individually, each one had something going on. That's the way he put it. They were in a different frame of mind. That was his words. They were in a different frame of mind. Now, had somebody at dinner time said, we're missing the baby, things would have been all right. But nobody noticed that the 3rd child was not at the table or in the house. They eat dinner. Mom goes to take a nap. Dad goes at the other end of the house to play Xbox. Where the 2 kids were, nothing was said. But 2 hours later, one of the children says, we haven't seen the baby. And then it dawns on the 2 parents, uh-oh, she's out in the car. By the time they got to the car, it was way too late. The other 2 children right now are in the custody of the grandparents because Mom and Dad are wearing orange jumpsuits right now. I've heard of dysfunctional families before. I cannot believe they get in the house and neither one of the kids says, Mom, Dad, you left somebody in the car. Nope. 2 hours later, one of the kids realizes, hey, the baby's not here. And they didn't say which parent was like, oh, she's in the car. But by the time they retrieved her from the car, it was too late. How do you not realize you're missing a child? I'm trying to think. Now, I know there have been more. But the last one I remember was a screw up in the parents' scheduling. And Mom always dropped the baby at daycare. For some reason, that morning, Dad had to drop the baby at daycare. Now, baby's in the back seat. Dad's on his way to work. He stops at, I don't know, Circle K or whatever, to get himself a cup of coffee, and he drives to work. Gets to work, gets out of the car, goes to work. Now, he must have parked in a cave, because in a parking lot, I would think that baby would have started crying and somebody would have heard it. But no. Dad comes out from work after an 8-hour day, and who's deceased in the back seat? I don't know about you, but almost since the inception of the automobile, they have this thing called a rear view mirror. And if you look in that rear view mirror, you can see the back seat. How can you drive to work and not look in your rear view mirror? I don't understand it. I do not understand how parents can leave kids in the car. You mean to tell me at no time whatsoever, even when he got in the car after he got his cup of coffee, he never looked in the back seat? And driving to work, he never looked in his rearview mirror? And the people that will go shopping and they will leave their kids in the car because they're just going to run in and run back out. And when they come out 3 hours later, ruh-roh! I don't understand it. I mean, these baby seats in these cars are not small. They're almost the size of somebody sitting in the seat. And you don't bother to look in. Yeah, the last one I remember was the guy that drove to work and forgot to drop his kid at daycare. And the strange thing, daycare never bothered to call the mother and say, "Is there a reason your child isn't here today?" Because I know when I had my son in daycare, if I would forget or my wife would forget to call and say, "Oh, he's not feeling well," they would be calling, asking why your child isn't there. Because had they called the mother and said, "Is there a reason your child isn't here today?" she would have immediately called her husband and said, "Hey, you forgot to drop the baby at daycare." And then he'd have run out and hopefully how can you drive and not even glance in your rearview mirror? I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. How you can be that preoccupied that you forget you have a baby in a baby seat in the car, in the back seat. God, I'm constantly looking in my rearview mirror and my side mirrors. My head's like on a swivel. And I know in some of these minivans, they have I don't know if it's standard or an option, they have a camera. And it shows up on the dashboard what the kids are doing in the back of the van. And if you're using your GPS, it's in the corner. You have 3/4 of a screen GPS, and then in the corner, it shows the camera pointing in the back seat. I don't understand it. And what makes no sense is this family sat down to dinner and they didn't realize, oh, wait a minute, there's a high chair here. How come nobody's in it? They had to notice an empty high chair in the kitchen. And you would think all they said was the two children were elementary school age. You would think sitting down to dinner, they go, the baby's not here. Nope, they had dinner, got up from dinner, Mom went in to take a nap, Dad went to play Xbox. They didn't say what the two children were doing. Well, Linda, they said Mom had been drinking the day before. And she didn't get much sleep. But when the sheriff said they were kind of preoccupied, that was what I thought. They were on some pretty good drugs. Because I don't know how you can be that preoccupied that you sit down to dinner and you don't realize you're missing a little mouth. Especially being 1 year old, you would have to kind of help feed that little mouth. And while you were making dinner and getting ready to set the table, wouldn't there be baby plate and baby silverware somewhere to give you a hint that, oh, wait a minute, we're missing the baby? I could see the parents being out in left field. What about the two children? Now, they didn't say their ages, but I would figure maybe 6, 7, 5. They had to be old enough to realize the baby wasn't eating dinner with them. Or the baby wasn't even in the house. I mean, the sheriff of Bexar County said, there's certain information that they can't divulge yet because they hadn't interviewed the children. But I would have thought you're sitting down to dinner as a family. Somebody would have missed number 5. You have 1, 2 parents, 3, 4 elementary age kids. Where's number 5? Two hours. That 1-year-old roasted in that hot car. And they said the temperature in that car was at least 150 degrees. What an agonizing way to pass. It had to be agonizing, and the poor child couldn't get out. And if the kid did get out, couldn't unlock a door. And evidently, I don't know what the neighborhood's like, but nobody heard a kid crying and screaming in a locked vehicle. Like the sheriff said, there's a lot of information they can't divulge yet. But there's something screwy going on when you don't realize. Now, I could see maybe if it was a couple months old. Okay, you're not used to having a baby around. No excuse, but a year-old? You can't forget about a 1-year-old child. Well, they did, but I mean, the average person. How do you forget? Especially when you're sitting down to dinner. God, I remember when my son was a year old. I'd be sitting there eating. Oh, come on. Hey, jeez. Then he'd sit and giggle. Then there'd be another spoonful. Oh. All right, take the spoon away from him. He'd have food all over him. It was dinner time entertainment. Not enjoyable sometime, Especially when he learned how to flick that spoon. Oh, Jesus. Oh, come on. You got my glasses and everything. He'd giggle his ass off. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I could see if the parents were on drugs. What about the other two kids? It took them 2 hours to realize the baby wasn't in the house? That's what I don't understand. Because usually the kids will get attached, and that's their baby, not the parents. That's our baby. I guess the only way we're ever going to find out is, have to FOIA request the police interviews and all the information. I don't have that kind of money. I hate this crappy Ronson lighter. although my buddy gave it to me. He's a retired FBI, and he got this one. It says Central Intelligence Agency. All right, Kathy. We're going to check in on your daughter, take her some more chicken soup. The sickness cure that probably goes back to the 1700s. I'm not feeling well. Here, chicken soup. I don't know why, not beef soup, tomato soup. It was always chicken soup. There must be some mother's manual. Child not feeling well. Bowl of chicken soup. Okay. I had so much chicken soup when I was a kid, I looked like him. Well, I looked a lot better than him, but Kathy, how could you check on your daughter that fast? Did you tell her she had a can of chicken soup in the cupboard? Make her own? Yeah, I even remember my grandmother. I'd say, Grandma, I'm not feeling too well. Here, eat this bowl of chicken soup. Yeah, but Grandma, it's breakfast time. Don't talk back to me. Eat that bowl of chicken soup. But Grandma, the chicken's still moving. Never mind. Drink the broth. Holy shit. Your granddaughter's wearing a heart monitor. Does this go back to that goddamn infection? Is she having all kinds of complications still? Oh, hey, if you got, just drop everything and go. You don't even have to tell us. Yeah, Timmy had a heart monitor on for a week. He's finally feeling at least 85%. Although the doctor kept telling him, don't go back to work so fast. But Timmy, being as dedicated as he is, he went back to work. Oh, okay, Kathy. I didn't know that. Is it something curable? Although word rare, when you say rare, 90% of the time, that means no cure. But I hope she's doing okay. I hate to hear that. Is this the same one that's involved in all the school activities? Gee, I read something, I think it was this morning, about LeBron James' son. I think it was this morning. Oh, one of them rare ones, yeah. Well, let's hope they find some cure for it. I think I read this morning that LeBron James' son had a heart attack or something. Bronny, Bronny, Bronny James. He had like a massive coronary or something. I'm like, gee, all these young kids with these coronary problems. I read about, I want to say he was a high school football player. And they said that he had a hell of a future because there were certain colleges that were kind of in a bidding war and had a heart attack and died. 18 years old. That's too damn young. Jesus. LeBron's son can't be, what is he, 18, 20? That's scary. And then especially to have, you know, a rare genetic disease that they don't know what causes it and how to cure it. You know, that's because when they do these research grants to these colleges, unless there's like 500,000 people that have a certain ailment, it's not worth researching. I think it should be the opposite. All these small, rare genetic, you know, maybe there's only 10 people in the United States, but don't you want to find out what causes it and how to cure it? No, because they don't get that big money. I wonder how much that college got to do the nose picking study. My buddy's wife calls me this morning every now and then she watches. She goes, "Oh, gee, the one show I watched and you had to make me sick." I said, "Well, it was a true study. A college did a year-long study. I didn't invent it." "Well, you didn't have to talk about it." We talk about everything on this show. Whatever comes to mind. I'd still like to know who thought of that. Hey, why don't we do a study on kids that pick their nose? Oh, good, Kathy. Good, 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 good. Glad to hear that. Because you never know. You know, sometimes they'll stumble on something and go, "Oh, wait a minute. It's this gene, and if we can reverse that gene." Oh, yeah, of course. She's a number. F4372. You know, there's been a lot of cures for some of these obscure disorders that they've come across and went, "Oh, wait a minute. If we do this and this and this, because, you know, they're discovering rare disorders every month." But see, Kathy, you go on the opposite end of the spectrum where there's a lot of people that go, "No, I'm not going to divulge that No, I'm not going to. No, no, thank you, no." And that don't help. Because the more people that they get information from, the more they can study it. And they can compare, you know, one person against the other one and go, "Okay, this one's got this symptoms, this one's got this symptoms." But like I've been saying, you would think modern medicine in the United States would learn how to cure pain. You should have seen the look on my doctor's face when I said, "Goddamn, England is years ahead of us." I says they can take the pain and localize it and stop it without a shitload of drugs. Yeah, Linda, the third time I had to go in, they gave me something completely different. Because I didn't lose my hair, for one, and I didn't have the side effects, for two. And I had fewer treatments, which I was glad of, because them 20 gauge needles, I'll have to look up in my records and see what it was. Because it was completely different than the first two times. Because I'll tell you what, it's a bitch when you lose your hair. Because when you lose your hair, you lose all your hair. And people look at you strange when you don't have any eyebrows. You can see him go, oh, he don't have any eyebrows. Something wrong with him. Or you're standing in a checkout line and the woman, in front of you turns and goes, you don't have any eyebrows. Yeah, and? What's wrong with you? Are you contagious? Yeah, let me touch you. Yeah, I still remember. Took a long time for the old eyebrows to grow back. Although, going through chemo, a lot of mainly the women, but there were some guys, when their hair grew back, it came in curly. And I was hoping that, oh boy, I would love to have a head full of curly hair. Not. But my oncologist was telling me sometime chemo has that effect. When you lose all your hair, sometimes it comes back in curly. Not me. Ron, we're going to take up a collection to buy you a giant alarm clock with a bell on it that came out of a church steeple. Are you that busy at 2 o'clock in the afternoon that you can't remember to take your 2 o'clock pill? God, I take mine religiously. Yeah, Linda, but you got to know the people that live around here. I mean, they're not the smartest. They definitely wouldn't get, the Nobel Peace Prize award. Yeah, I'll never forget the one I'm standing in line at Mark's getting ready to check out. And this woman, she puts her wallet in her purse and she happens to look up at me and she goes, "You don't have any eyebrows. What's wrong with you? Are you contagious?" I said no. I just went through chemo. Oh, is that cancer? Oh, is that contagious? Oh, stay away from. Don't breathe on me. Yeah, we're not in that socioeconomic group that Trump is in. Just saying. Kathy knows Cleveland people. Kathy knows because she's been in this area before. She knows. She knows what I'm talking about. If you want to get insulted in a heartbeat, move to Cleveland. That's why I don't have to explain a lot when I talk about like certain areas of the city and that because Kathy knows. Oh, I can imagine, Kathy. You're in a different class of people down there. They're polite. You're in that class of people where they call you, Miss Kathy. It's Miss Kathy. I'm in that group up here in Cleveland. It's like, hey, asshole, come here. And 9 people turn around and go, which one? Yeah, Kathy understands what I'm talking about. She knows. Oh, yeah, that woman, she got frantic. Don't come near me. Got to be the point I bought an eyebrow pencil. Just so I'd have something on my forehead. And it really pissed me off because it took them forever. I mean, I was getting hair in my head, hair on my face, eyebrows, one at a time. Dink, dink. Although, you know what's really strange? On each eyebrow, I've got some hair that grows at like 6 times the speed of sound. I'll have my normal, and I'll have one that's like 3 inches hanging. I'm like, where did you come from? Snip it off. Couple days later, brrr. It's just like 2 or 3 on each eyebrow. They grow at the speed of light. Yeah, but Kathy, you got a little different type of ignorance down there than I've got here. And you know it. Linda, they probably turn and look at you and go, Jesus? Why do I have to find Jesus? I don't know a Jesus. I was kind of hoping for that, Linda, but mine didn't. I was kind of hoping it would come in dark or a full head. No. I can't grow any hair across the front here. None. That's why I just shave it every couple of days. I'll tell you what, I've been bald for so long, I wouldn't know what it was like to have a big full head of hair. Matter of fact, if I grew a big full head of hair, people wouldn't know who I was. No, you're not Grumpy. No, no, you're his brother. I don't have a brother. Yeah, because I remember one of the, God, how old was she? I would say this woman had to be in her late 70s, maybe early 80s. And she stopped to visit. And she had this beautiful hair. I mean, full head of curly, dark brunette hair. Not one piece of gray. And when she had started chemo, she had a full head of gray hair. And straight. It grew back, dark brunette and curly as can be, because nobody recognized her. And I was like, oh boy, I hope mine comes back like that. Not. But I don't care. Like I say, I've been bald for so long. Every 3 days, I just pull out the old razor. Done. Because it takes a long time for my hair to grow. I've noticed that since chemo. It takes like forever. Oh, well, he was lucky. But I have noticed most males, once they lose their hair from chemo, they just keep shaving it. Matter of fact, when I was sitting in the waiting room, there was a guy, he was one chair away from me. And I says to him, I said, can I ask you a somewhat personal question? He's like, yeah, go ahead. I said, do you shave your head regularly since chemo? He says, yep. He says, just a lot easier than having to pay a barber to cut it. Well, you're lucky you didn't end up like a husky, have one blue eye and one brown eye. That would be something for your optometrist to ask. They would know. It would be interesting next time you get your eyes examined to ask and then let us know what they say. Although I'll tell you what I could do without some of the frickin' side effects from chemo. My goddamn legs look like the alligator skin man. I went to see a dermatologist and she said, yeah, side effect from chemo, nothing we can do about it. I can give you some cream to rub on them. I said, never mind, I don't care. Well, Linda, that's one good thing I can say about the 3 different oncologists that I've had. As a matter of fact, this little Chinese guy, I really like him. I really do. Even though I get yelled at as soon as he walks in the office. Because he's, well, you know, growing up Chinese, they have all them, you know, grind up eye of newt and chop up a frog leg and put it in a blender with some hot tea and drink it, and it'll cure you. Because he told me, he said, basically, if I would have had him from the beginning, his form of treatment would have been a lot different. In a way, I wish I would have had him. I'd like to see because he told me he kind of mixes American medicine with Chinese. And he said for quite a while the hospital kind of frowned upon it. But they also saw he was having good results. So gee, Kathy, if Google says that, my eyes should be white. Because, oh, here's a good one. "25 years ago, get this, I've never been measured. When I was getting my vitals taken, the guy measured me. 25 years ago, I was 6'3". I am now 5'11 and a half. I cannot believe I have shrunk that much in 25 years. Because, of course, when they measure you, it's all millimeters and centimeters. I said, what does that break down to? He says 5'11" and a half. I was like, Jesus Christ, 25 years ago I was 6'3". Talk about my spine compressing over the years. Holy Christ. I couldn't believe it. I said, you had to measure me wrong. He said, no, I didn't. You were standing right there and the thing was on top of your head. I realize, with age, you do lose a little height. But I can't believe I lost that much. I've never heard of getting taller. Are you sure that they're not deducting for the calluses on your heels? No, come on, Ron. Yeah, I told him. I said, you figured that wrong. He showed me the chart, 5'11" and a half. I was like, I was 6'3" even. Now it explains when I order slacks why they're so frickin' long. The last pair I ordered, it's like, holy shit. These things are hanging over my shoes. I still can't find that pair of red shorts. I went through my whole dresser today. I was like, they gotta be in here. Nope. I don't know where they disappeared to. Of course, now I don't need them anymore. The goddamn cold weather's starting. Time to dig the blue jeans out again. Christ, I'm going to have to take the window air conditioner out at this rate. And dig the space heater out. Wow, there's a dedicated doctor. Holy shit. I'll tell you what, doctors like that are few and far between today. With a lot of doctors, you're just a frickin' number, Does he bother to stay in touch, Linda? Or once he retired, that was it? It would be nice, knowing he had success with your brother to just kind of check in every now and then and say, "Hey, how you doing there?" But doctors like that are few and far between. Especially after losing his son. About then he'd probably say, "Yeah, time to hang it up." Yeah, well, you know that's the way to do it, Linda. You had, living proof with your brother. Oh, he did. Oh, God, of all places to move. Holy Christ. That's that's one thing I can say about my neurologist that I had at the clinic. The one that actually finally diagnosed what was wrong. When I left, to go out on disability, he'd call me couple times a year to see how I was doing. And then when he retired, I didn't hear from him anymore. But I kind of appreciated the call. Because he'd say, "You're not my patient anymore. You're not even with the same hospital system anymore." But although, you know, being a cashier in the cafeteria, I saw him every day too. So we had kind of a friendship going, not to mention he was big into car restoration. He restored old Maseratis. And man, did he have a beautiful collection. Matter of fact, they were all Maserati Ghiblis.Ghibli. Ghiblis. They were all mid to late 60s. Used to drive him to the hospital all the time. Matter of fact, he took me for a ride in one once. You should have seen the garage that he had. Oh my God. He even had a lift in his garage where he could take the cars and put them on the second story because he parked them all on the second floor. And then if he wanted to drive one, he put it on the lift and brought it down to the main floor. He lives up in the west end of Lakewood, just before the Rocky River Rocky River line. Yeah, just before the Rocky River line. He's up in the west end of Lakewood. If he's still alive. I'm going to have to look him up. I've mentioned it several times. I take my blood pressure every single morning. And mine stays quite the same. I have a chart. God, the chart goes back to March when I started. I pull out my notebook, my binder, like when I was in high school. Pull out my binder, turn the page. Okay, here we go. Today's blood pressure. But religiously, I get out of bed, hit the bathroom, sit down at my desk, pull out my cup, put my cuff on, push the button, write it down. Yeah, mine runs. I'm anywhere between like 140 to 148 over between like 87 and 93. Because I look down the chart and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm running good. Although what's really goofy, I have two different blood pressure machines. They're both go around your wrist. I can sit and put one on each arm, and they're both different. You would think that if one is like 141 over 88, this one would, nope. But I got into that habit. Matter of fact, I got to make some copies of the chart. I'm running out of pages. Because what I'll do is I'll take my blood pressure. I grab a pod. I hit the machine to make a cup of coffee. Get dressed. Go grab my cup of coffee. Sit down at my desk. Take all my pills. The same routine every single morning. it happens on its own, Ron. I didn't touch nothing. And I'm using the Blue Yeti microphone. It just does it. I don't know why. It just does it. I've seen people on YouTube for 3 or 4 hours at a time and never have a microphone problem. I get on YouTube and after the first hour, I don't know what it is. I give up trying to figure it out. It's the bird's fault. It's his fault. Blame it on him. His fault. At least now with him back in the studio, I got somebody to blame. His fault. He did it. Well, you wanted to come back on the air. You're the one that's going to get the blame for everything. I have to find my beak ties. I'll fix your ass. I had them in here. I don't know where they went. I don't know where they went. The zip ties are gone. I don't know what happened to them. I saw them the other day. I was like, oh, zip tie. Matter of fact, I saw one on the floor here the other day. No, not there. Did you hide the zip ties when you came back? Is that what it is? They were here. I saw them. Nah. No big deal. I don't need them right now. But it would be fun to screw with them right now. Is it over there? Nope. I don't know where they went. Don't know where they went. I had a bunch of them. Well, there's that cordless mouse I couldn't find. Right here. I'm looking for zip ties. I find a cordless mouse. Yeah, don't know where they went. Of course, now he'll be in the CEO's office in the morning. Oh, he was looking for the beak zip ties. It's strange, though, because I had them here. That's odd that they all disappeared at once. Very odd. Oh well. Yeah, well, I didn't want to bring him back, Ron. He was in the CEO's office yesterday. Now I come in this morning and CEO's like, come here. I said, well, I'll let him sit in the studio. That's it. Especially considering, look at the size of the sign. Look at the size of the signs. You know who rates around here. Oh, there it is. The old jackalope right there. Next thing you know, he'll want a part of the show. Although you can't see his antlers, I'm going to have to lower him down a little bit. I just realized that. You can't see the antlers. Yeah, I'll lower him down. I'll bring him down to about here. Let him fill this section right there. So any big plans for the Labor Day weekend? Me? No. Just another weekend. Well, it'll be a weekend with fighter jets flying over top of me. F-16s. Although I'll tell you what's really cool. Several years ago, I was out at the airport. And this is before they changed the roadway back there. But I was at the end of the runway. It was all fenced off, but the end of the runway was not too far away. And the Blue Angels were getting ready to take off. And they were in a line. Nose to tail. They were in a line. And when they got clearance to take off, they rolled down that runway, and all 8 of them lifted off at once. It was the most amazing thing I had ever seen. 8 jets all at once. I wish I'd have had I had my cell phone. I wish I'd have had a camera. It was unbelievable. They started their takeoff roll, and all 8 of them, it was like somebody went, now, whoop, straight up. And then they got in formation, but it was the most amazing thing I have ever seen. 8 fighter jets straight up off that runway. Talk about afterburners kicking in. It was amazing. You would think, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, all 8. And the sound. Holy cow, the sound was unbelievable. And I had mentioned it to a friend of mine who was in the Air Force during Vietnam. And he went, oh yeah, those guys are show-offs. I said, but all 8 at once? He said, yep. They want to get up 30,000 feet, level off, and go. But it was cool. They just started the takeoff roll, and it was like the guy in the number one jet went, now! And I was watching them straight up. Something you only see once in a lifetime. For two reasons. One, I happen to be in the right place at the right time. And for two, that road at the back of the runway isn't there anymore. Well, Kathy, that's why they call them the Precision Aerobatic Team. Because you know damn right well they didn't learn that in one day. Not to mention the spacing, you know. You don't want to be flying up your buddy's ass, you know. Oh, I've seen when they buzz the beach. I've seen videos. Because they always try to see how low they can get over the top of that pier. And then when they catch hell, when they get back to the base, they're like, well, not me. Matter of fact, there was a video on YouTube a week or so ago. He'd flying along. It looked like he was only like 6 inches above that fucking pier. But I'll tell you, and everybody says, no, they're the same. The Blue Angels are way better than the Thunderbirds. Everybody says, no, they're trained the same way. No. The Blue Angels, that's precision flying. You know, up until everybody bitched in downtown Cleveland, Kathy, when they would come into town, they would fly straight down 9th Street, in between the buildings, right up over the lake. Then everybody was like, oh. But yeah, they would just come straight down East 9th Street, in between the buildings, then go out off of 9th Street Pier and up in the air. They were letting people know we're in town. That's the same thing. If you remember ever being at the air show in Cleveland until they got banned from doing it, when they would go up to do that flower, I call it the flower, well, everybody would be watching and they wouldn't notice there was one missing. And they're going up and up and up and everybody's watching. And the last one would buzz the crowd. People shit themselves because he come from behind. They would start to go up and they would and nobody noticed that one cut away. And he'd fly a big circle, and he'd come in behind the crowd as low as he could and buzz the crowd and then go up. And too many people were bitching, oh, they scared me. I thought it was cool. They used to do a lot of neat stuff. But everybody turns into crybabies. Oh, the jet scared me. Okay, you can't do that routine no more. But I remember when they would come down 9th Street. They'd start up at Carnegie and buzz the buildings straight down 9th Street and then out over the lake. You know what routine I think is the best? And it takes a lot of precision when they do the box. One will be, the top one's upside down and they're inverted. You got one flying normal, these two are sideways, and then you got one upside down and they fly that box. That takes some precision flying because they look like they're like wingtip to wingtip. That's the one routine that I wait for when they do that box formation. Because, like I say, the top one, he's upside down. And then these two are inverted. And then the one on the bottom is doing normal. But they look like they're flying wingtip to wingtip. That flying is amazing to me. And only the Blue Angels do it. I've never seen the Thunderbirds do that routine. But I love when they'll be flying along and then they just... Because I remember one year, matter of fact, I was working for a Buick dealer. And we had to prep 10 Buick Rivieras. And they were all blue with yellow stripes. And they got them as courtesy cars while they were in Cleveland. Because our dealership furnished them. And then when they got done with them, they autographed the owner's manual. And it was neat when we had them on the front lot of the dealership. And they sold out quite quickly. It was amazing how many... Matter of fact, I know one guy had... God, he had that Riviera for years. But they were blue and yellow. Said Blue Angels down the side. And each one of the pilots autographed the owner's manual. Because they cleared out everything from in front of the dealership. And they parked all those cars out front. Because I remember we had them in the body shop because we had to put the yellow stripes on them and we had to have the Blue Angels on the side and the airport's insignia on the deck lid. And then we took them down to Burke Lakefront Airport. No. We took them out to Hopkins because that's where they park. Yeah, we took them out to Hopkins. And we pulled in the back, and each one of them got a car. Here, drive around Cleveland while you're here. Courtesy of Buick. All right, Kathy. Take care. See you tomorrow. Take care of the daughter. Cook her about a gallon of chicken soup. I think over the weekend, I got two people pestering me. They want to hear the car buying story. So over the weekend, the long weekend, I'll have to tell the car buying story. My grandparents. Oh, what a pair they were. But I'll tell you what, in all the years, I never heard either one of them raise their voice. They never argued. Never. Although I wasn't around them 24/7, but I never heard the two of them, never a cross word, nothing. They were an amazing couple. They really were. Too bad people have to get old. God, I miss them. Especially my grandfather, but there isn't a day that goes by I don't think of him. Just one amazing person. He really was. And I still have the pocket knife that he gave me when I was 8 years old. The knife that my grandmother said I was going to turn into a hooligan. You're going to turn the kid into a hooligan, giving him a knife. Yeah, like I was going to take this. Let me get the blade out. Yeah, like I was going to hold up a gas station with that little blade. Give me the money. Yep. When my grandmother found out he gave me that, I was going to turn into a hooligan. She looked at me and said, "You're going to be a hooligan." Then I had to go home in Webster's dictionary and look up hooligan. And I never became one. That was the only time I ever really saw her pissed off. But she didn't say much. Well, I'm sure after my grandfather took me home, she had a lot to say, but she just got right in my face. "You're going to turn into a hooligan with that knife." And I've had it ever since. Gave it to me for my 8th birthday. There it is. I've always cherished that little tiny pocket knife. And when I'm gone, my son will go, "Well, what's this piece of crap? Pfft. What the hell, Dad, hold on to this little itty bitty knife for?" In the garbage. I'm going to have to dig out the silver dollar. I've told the story, but it's been a long time. The silver dollar he carried every day for good luck. And then he gave it to me. And there's a real interesting story behind that silver dollar. I've got it hidden in my dresser. I'll dig it out one day and I'll tell the silver dollar story along with the car buying story. And we've heard the Smokey story many times. Oh, yeah, the old box cameras. I think they called it the Kodak Brownie because it was brown, if I remember right. I think they called them old box cameras the Kodak Brownie. My aunt had one. I'm pretty sure it was called the Brownie because it was brown. I remember it was dark brown. We'd have to pose for a picture and it would take her forever to. Don't nobody move. Auntie, we've been like this for 10 minutes. Snap the picture already. Because it took 110 film. I still remember the number. Big pictures. Negatives were big. 110. No, this was kind of a solid box, but it did fold up. Because I remember she'd bring the lens out and they'd have to bring the other, put the film in. She'd go hide in the bedroom closet so there'd be no light. I'm pretty sure it was called a Brownie. Because my aunt was the official photographer of the family. Yeah, good old 110 film. I remember. She'd send me up to the drugstore. Go get me a roll of 110. And they had big, the negatives were big. I remember that. Well, she called it her Brownie. It was brown, but like I say, it was, God, it was, I think it was the first Kodak ever made. She'd bring that thing out, and oh, God, Auntie's going to take pictures again. Okay, everybody pose. Hold it. You'd be there like 10 minutes. Are you going to take the picture? Well, I can't get everybody in the viewfinder. Everybody move in. Don't move. I'm frozen in this position. I don't think I can move. Then at the end of the picnic, run these up to the drugstore. Take the roll up, give it to the druggist. You tear off the receipt. Here's the receipt. They'll be ready in a week, week and a half. Then she'd go in. Are my pictures ready yet? Nope, they're not back yet. Oh, it's been a week. Well, it's not like an SD card, you know. It's amazing the advancement in photography. I used to have my old SLR cameras, roll a film, take 36 pictures, get it developed. Now I pull out my camera, take a picture, pull the SD card out, plug it in my computer. There's the picture. Oh, I'm trying to think of, yeah, some of the German cameras. My neighbor had a couple of German, of course he was German. Because his Volkswagens all had, I think it was Telefunken radios. I think that's what they Telefunken. Oh, one day, Ron, I'll dig out my cameras. I'll tell you, the one I really enjoy using, I've got a Sony Mavica. And it takes pictures on floppy disks. I have a case of them. You pop a floppy disk in. Of course, you have to have a floppy disk reader. And it takes amazing, I'll tell you what, it takes amazing pictures. I really love that camera. But I've got, what have I got? 4 or 5 DSLRs. And the thing that ticks me off is most of them take an SD card or a compact flash card, and then 2 of them take XD cards. I have to have all different kind of freaking readers for all the cards for the cameras. Well, peoples, I think it's that time. I got some burgers marinating. We know where, right here, WDWL TV. Or right here, WDWL. Turn so people can see the WDWL. Straighten it up. There you go. All right, everybody. It's been a fun night. Thanks for everybody popping in and staying with me. And we will meet again tomorrow night. See ya.